Hello everyone, this is Anti-Wave, bringing to you another tier list video. So I'm still under the criteria of turtling, so this one will be specifically the 3 base super turtle. I'm thinking about making different sections for Frozen Valley, Fordine, Glacial, and Exile. I'll get to that. As you guys have noticed, you see Captain Cutter, Professor Anders, and Sergeant Forge on the list. I figured let me include them since the Arbiter, Prophet, and Chieftain are, they're leaders and they're also hero units. So why not include them? So for breaking the turtle, the 3-base super turtle, it's very different from holding the wall and all these other things. So if you have a problem with these parameters, please let me know in the comment section. I just want to be more specific than the first video. I might even redo the first video because maybe it's too broad and I'm not being specific enough. I'm not sure. So S tier is the units that can excel and are more likely to do damage. A solid choice. B, not on the same level as an S or A tier unit, but it gets the job done. C tier is difficult, and the D rank is highly unlikely that you're going to destroy a base or kill units. So starting from the left, I was going to do in any order, but I'm going to start from the left again like I did last time. I should have a greater understanding of this one because I have many videos to showcase this, and I hope I show a video example on screen. But we're starting with Marines. Marines are going to go into the unlikely tier. Oh, right. Okay. Let me also, before I do that, let me paint the scene for you guys. So this is like, you find yourself in the middle of a 3-base super turtle and, you're trying to take the guys out of the game. So, yeah, I hope that's clear enough. So around that time, a 3-base super turtle can be like, 25-30 minutes into the game, so you should have Tech 4, Tech 3, depending on Covenant or UNSC. So again, assuming everything is upgraded to the max, and you're up against, a moderately veteranized tank, like a 10-star, 11-star, maybe a 1-star Scarab or a 2-star hero, like a Prophet or a Chieftain or something. So those types of parameters I'm setting. So yeah, anywhere between 25 minutes to an hour into the match. So I hope that's clear. So yeah, excuse me. Alright, now getting to it with the Marines. They're going to go straight into the unlikely tier, or D. My explanation for this is, while Marines can do something, like in the turtle making video, at this point they'll already have, the enemy team will have, I don't know, again, 10-star tanks or higher. There's engineers healing the base. They're not gonna do anything, so I don't see much that can be done to a base. There's not much that Marines can do, and I think I'm just going to put the Elite Grunts and Brute Grunts in the same tier. We're just gonna speed run it because there are worse Marines by far. Let me make sure. Oh yeah, like I said, if something's on the left, it's better than something on the right. So Brute Grunts are a little better against buildings, but they're kind of like meh. They really can't do too much, so I'm just gonna get that out of the way. Suicide Grunts, very good, very, very good. Especially in regards to the 3-base super turtle, I'm considering putting them in S tier because they can really blow up a base and put an enemy on a loss timer. But I can understand if they're a solid choice, but because the problem is you need to go almost full pop suies to. If there's a UNSC, you can definitely do it. And even if it's a Covenant, if you're forcing the Covenant to go 3 to 4 shields because you're scared of Suicide Grunts, you know what? I'll put the Suicide Grunts in S tier for turtle breaking, because they can do a lot of damage. And anytime I see a full army of Suicide Grunts, I genuinely am scared and worried, because if your engineers aren't there in time, or you don't have a Covenant on your team, your base is getting blown up and you can annoy the team. So Suicide Grunts will have to go into S tier. The Brute Squads, I want to say they're in B to an A. high B, low A. Because again, say someone is getting too greedy and cocky with a 12-star tank and they think they can solo the entire universe. If you surprise them with jump pack brutes, you can eliminate highly veteranized tanks pretty quickly, even Cobras too. So I think brutes deserve the B tier for turtle breaking. They get the job done. Maybe A, but I think they're in a solid B, high B. Flamethrowers, they're worse than the Marines and the Grunts because they don't do any damage except it's against infantry, you know? So they have to go in D. I can't explain too much about them. Honor guards also go in the D tier. What the hell are you gonna do? Besides, like, maybe scare off a non-veteranized hero unit. They're not gonna do anything. You're gonna need the Spartans. Obviously, not the Spartans by themselves, but you need the Spartans. How do I put it? The best way to counter veterancy is with veterancy of your own. So Spartans are gonna have to go in the S tier. Because of course I'm saying like a Spartan in a tank or a Cobra or Wolverine or something. A Spartan will go in S tier because you need to fight veterancy with your own veterancy if you're able to do so. Hunters, I'll have to throw them in the, I want to say B, but I'm gonna have to throw them in C tier because if you're up against like 12-star tanks and higher and you're facing an Anders or whatever, you know, if you're already getting turtled, going hunters, again, they're slow, they can't hit air, and they can get candy glitched. Hunters, like, they can do some damage to a tank, right? Any veteranized vehicle, the hunters can do some decent damage. They can do something, but it's going to be difficult trying to eliminate a base with it. So, I'm not sure about that. So, yeah. ODSTs are gonna have to land. If it's one cutter, it's a solid choice. If it's two or more, they go in S. I think that the ODSTs can land in the A tier. They serve many purposes. If you take out one of the enemy's bases and the opponent's on a loss timer, you can keep spamming ODSTs to slowly draw out the loss timer and ring out the opponent. They can do their job. If if someone is being too reckless with their veteranized tank, you cut them off, you mag blast them, or a chieftain pull them. ODSTs are a solid choice. Hell, even going just straight ODSTs is far better than, like, again, the ODSTs far exceed the infantry here, the hunters, and the brute squads because you can drop them anywhere, you can cut units off, and if the enemy loses their base, their only base for the 3-base super turtle, then they're screwed. ODSTs are very annoying. I'll put them in at least A. I have no problem if you want to argue higher. Cyclops. They go into the, they go straight in, like, okay, I think, yeah, like, even behind the honor, maybe in front of the honor guard? No. At least they do damage to buildings, so I'll put them in front of the flamethrower. It's unlikely. If you're going to go all Cyclops, it's like you're kind of just throwing the match. I mean, sure, you can heal your own vehicles, but, like, Cyclops aren't going to do a damn thing. They're not. Engineers. Obviously, if you make 50 of them, you can't do anything but keep your allies alive. I guess they can synergize with the Spartans pretty well. Like, what other way to counter what they have with what you have, except you're on the offensive? So, I'm not sure, because I don't see engineers too often on the offensive except for a Scarab, and they kind of just waste population, you know. But I mean, if you have like a hero of your own, like a chieftain, to keep them alive, They can do something. I'm gonna say that a lot, I noticed, but they have their uses. Yeah, but I'll have to put them in the, because it depends on how you use them. Like, they're S tier for turtle making because they keep your base alive and units. Of course, if you're trying to break the turtle, though, you're on the offensive, so they can heal your units. So, but the thing is, you don't want to make too much because you might want to. I don't know. You can. I'm trying to think of scenarios like you make 1 scarab and 60 engineers. Like one Covenant player goes, you know, scarab 30, you make 30, and the other 20 population could be whatever, vampires or something. They can like really be very agitating to deal with. I'll put the engineers, I'll slap them right on B. Because, it's just, I need to see more uses of the engineer in breaking a turtle. Because a lot of people just kind of just make a scarab, go with 30 engineers, and the stuff just blows up. They don't even like synergize well with their teammates. So, but yeah, that's the people using the engineer, not the engineer itself. I'll just have to land it in B tier for now. Jackals, only good at attacking a prophet, and if you have an unupgraded hornet for some reason, more useful than the flamethrowers. And these guys, they're gonna go in D tier. Now onto the heroes, which I think will be a slightly longer discussion, but not too crazy. For making and breaking a turtle, you're gonna need Cutter, no doubt. Like, the Mag Blast, 8 Mag Blasts can outdamage 20 engineers healing it at certain points if you do it fast enough. If you can knock out a scarab. Like, once a scarab gets like below, like once it loses like 20% of its health, a quad max should be able to do it. Even at 2 stars, if there's 2 cutters, just Cutter by himself can make or break turtles. So I'm gonna have to throw him into the S tier. Just because. I don't know for ranking the leaders, and like if they're behind, I'll make an exception for the leaders. If they're like behind a infantry unit, that doesn't mean like, I don't know how to put it, but just treat the heroes as a slightly separate category. So Cutter is high S tier or the top of S tier for breaking a turtle, especially if you have more than one. Trying to 3-base super turtle against 3 cutters, I don't think you can win. I really don't think you can win. It's tough because it's like if you kill all of their tanks or whatever, they can just drop, 10 times 3. They already, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's an entire army right after. You know what I mean? So Cutter can do something, and that's just one. So if there's any more, he's already at the bare minimum very high A to low S. I'm gonna throw him an S though because you can break turtles with Cutter, and I've done it before as Cutter, so I'll put him there. I'm also going to put Professor Anders in the S tier. I want her to tie with Cutter, maybe put her in front, but when you get those, like, again, the chain amp gremlins and tanks and all the other stuff, or going hawks in certain scenarios, you can do it. Anders is great for breaking a turtle. The cryo bomb is very annoying. If you blow up the opponent's base and they're on a loss timer, you can freeze the building base and drag it out that way. So the Anders leader herself is great for breaking a turtle. It's just great all around. You're gonna want to have her on your team to break a turtle if you find yourself in that situation. Sergeant Forge. I'm gonna have to throw Forge into the definitely difficult, not unlikely, just difficult. It depends on the situation. If it's a triple base super turtle against all Covenant, Forge is solid. But if you're sitting here up against a Cutter and Anders' Forge, a carpet bomb is only gonna kill ODSTs if that's what the enemy team decides to make. But other than that, it doesn't do much. It can mess with buildings, sure, but a Mac Blast and Cryo Bomb are way superior to a Carpet Bomb in every single freaking way. So, like, all you have is money and like a worse upgrade for Grizzly. Like, why? You know, like, and I like Forge. So I'm gonna have to throw Forge in the C tier. The leader himself, of course. The next one is the Prophet. For breaking a turtle, I think Prophet can definitely, he lands in the B tier yet again. Top of B tier. I'll just put him there. The hero unit and the hero unit and the leader himself. Prophet can definitely get the job done. Flying around, dropping units off, cleansing things down, especially if you have veterancy, can be extremely infuriating to deal with. So I'll put Prophet in B. The Arbiter, I'm gonna have to land him in A for trying to break a turtle, because that ghastly vision, put it for an OSC, that ghastly vision, dropping suicide grunts can be very annoying, especially if there's like 2 Arbiters. I wonder if 30 engineers can out-heal 2 full armies of suicide grunts blowing up a base. I gotta test that out sometime. But the Arbiter leader himself can do some things. Very good. I have no problem with the Arbiter. Yeah. The Chieftain, the hero unit, and the leader himself, I'll have to put him in the S tier for trying to break a turtle. Because if the enemy team has a Vulcan and your Chieftain doesn't die and you pull it, you kind of mess everything up for them. If they have a veteranized tank that they're trying to star up, you can pull it. If you're, there on time, you could do a lot of things with a Chieftain to break a turtle. So, Chieftain is, in my opinion, the best covenant for breaking and making a turtle. So, just gonna leave it at that for there. Alright, we don't really have to explain anything for the Ghost. The Ghost is gonna be unlikely. Warthogs, I've seen people try to make them. They work like early, in an early Super Turtle stage, but after, like, I don't know, once the Cobra's locked down, they kind of just fall off, so I'll put them in front of the Cyclops. I don't have to say anything for the Chopper. Gremlins, if their Gremlins are useful unless there's all Covenant around, I'll have to throw Gremlins in the A again. They're very good. However, you know what? Enough of them can briefly stun a Scarab as well, so I'll put them in the low A, high B. What are you making elephants for? You know, like, maybe in a world where, like, you somehow blow up their buildings and you park elephants on it so they can't rebuild. I'll put them top of D tier. I don't know. Wolverines, I have to put them in to get the job done. Because, like, they do excellent. Okay, they serve a double purpose. They can knock out engineers. And they can destroy buildings quite well. So, they get the job done. I'll put them in front of... I might put them in front of Prophet. I'm not sure, but... High B for the Wolverines. Wraiths, I think the Hunters do a better job, so I'll put them in unlikely. Probably the top of unlikely, because Wraiths are so much better at that than the Elephants. So yeah, Grizzlies. They're just veterancy food. They're a complete downgrade from a freaking Scorpion, so I'm gonna have to throw Grizzlies in the difficult. I don't see how you can do it. It's better. It outperforms all of these guys, and does worse than a Hunter. I think Hunters do better than Grizzlies for trying to break a turtle. Because every time I see someone try to go Grizzlies when I'm trying to break a turtle, I tend to just resign because they're just veterancy food. They're nothing special. Scorpion tanks, solid choice. Because you might have Spartans in them. They do damage. They do decent damage. They could do something. But who knows? Maybe I'll throw them and get the job done, though. I'm not sure. Cobras, I'm going to have to say difficult. They can't hit air. But, I mean, they can... I've seen people try to reverse Super Turtle where they'll park their units outside, and that's very annoying if you have a tank and you try to send it out and like 10 Cobras hit you from the fog of war. Like, that can do something, but breaking a turtle, they have to get close. maybe unlikely, but I'll say here. They'll put them here, right in the middle of difficult. If the enemy is crazy like me, Ninja, and Majin, right, and we're turtling, we're doing the 3-base Super Turtle on Glacial Ravine, the Super Sentinel can go in the unlikely tier. Just, I'll put him in front, like this. I'll put the Super Sentinel there. Hornets. They've done some shit. They have blown up bases, right? But I'm gonna put them in the unlikely tier. Hornets do their job, but I don't know. I'm squinting my eyes really hard at this because what the hell do Hornets really do besides just become veterancy food? They're not Hawks, you know? They're not Hawks. Hornets are just bad. They beat Wraiths though. They do a better job than Wraiths, so I'll put them in the top of unlikely. Okay, Sentinels, I got nothing to say about this. Banshees are a very solid choice. I'd say Banshees approach S tier because 2 full populations of sacrifice Banshees really can screw up a 3-base Super Turtle. They'll wipe out a double shield. They can eviscerate UNSC bases. Banshees can definitely do shit, and the fact that they keep falling to the ground. Like, yes, you're starring up the Wolverines and shit, but Banshees are actually excellent for turtle breaking. They can do their job better than tanks. Maybe Gremlins, maybe better than Gremlins. Because generally speaking, when trying to beat a 3-base Super Turtle, air is always the most convenient option that most players go to, and I've seen Banshees do the most work. Yeah, so, yeah, I'll put the Banshees there. Hawks, I want to say S tier, but I'll have to throw them in A above the Banshees. Like, okay, in all maybe I should make I should make other parameters, man, because in an all UNSC game, Hawks can do some shit, like, way more. But if there's a Covenant around, Vampires kind of just halt that. Even if Scarabs start up, just shooting from far away can screw up Hawks, but Hawks do really good. Excellent damage. I put them above the Banshees. Maybe even above ODSTs. I think I'll put them above ODSTs. I think so. So high A tier. Vampires, now, I'll say they get the job done better than Wolverines. Because if there's a Covenant around, you know, in a few games recently, in recent Turtle matches, it's happened to Ninja a few times. One player just went all Vampires and completely destroyed our, healthcare. Completely destroyed it. They got their job done. They just can't kill bases, but for killing engineers, which is the lifeblood of any turtle game, they get their job done. It's gonna be crazy. They go from meme tier in the last video to S tier. I don't care what y'all say. Vultures are very good at killing 3-base Super Turtles. Just for 5,400 resources, you can knock out a base without a Mac Blast, by the way. Vultures can do their damn thing, yo. They go from being stupid to actually a threat. Especially in a triple... Goddamn car, man. Especially a triple base Super Turtle. You cannot... Vultures are very scary. If you watched any of my turtle videos and anytime a vulture showed up, I'm actually yelling like crazy, dude. It's just vultures are genuinely a threat in 3-base Super Turtles. So now onto the Locust. I'm gonna have to say very difficult to high C, low B. I don't know. Locust or, yeah, I'd say high C, low B. And you know what? Let me put the heroes in the front to make things better. So that way it's not like, yeah, okay. So, yeah. When doing the 3-base Super Turtle on the concrete side of Fort Dean, for example, they can be S tier because you don't even have to do anything. You can just shoot from the bottom, like how you do the canister shell from the bottom, and there's nothing that can be done except, I mean, there's something that can be done as long as you know that it's coming, or you have engineers by the base where the UNSC is. But in most cases, you would just have to cover and take over that base. So yeah, with exploits included, I put them from A to S on Fort Dean, but that's it. But Locusts can definitely get there. They're difficult though because they're tinfoil. Once their shield goes down, it doesn't matter. They just die. So a Vulcan. What about a Vulcan? It's in one of my videos somewhere, I think. It has to be. If not, I'm gonna be tight. But I know I have it somewhere in my footage. There's a... Oh, excuse me. Yawn research, man. In that video in particular, somebody made a Vulcan against us. It was, I think, me and Reno and Ninja or Pizza Box or whoever. I don't fully remember. But I do remember is they made a Vulcan, a elephant Vulcan, and all we did was just pull it and Mac blast it. So, guys, the Vulcan wasn't starred up or anything, but I mean, it still can do damage. But I'd say the Vulcan goes from being God tier from making a turtle to breaking a turtle. It depends on it's too iffy. It depends on the positioning, depends on the veterancy, depends on what leaders the enemies are. I'll put them at the top of like difficult, maybe behind the Locust, because you know it's a bunch of Cobras in a stack. It can't move, but I mean, hey, if the enemy player who has, I don't know, 12-star tanks isn't expecting it, the Vulcan can definitely one-shot it. So, I guess difficult. I'll put the Vulcan in difficult. And, lastly, the Scarab, the bug himself. I've seen him show up 1,000 times and seen him fall 1,000 times. I'll just have to throw him in difficult to gets the job done. Thinking to myself, I'm really thinking to myself. I'm sorry for that moment of silence there. It's just like Scarabs are just laughable. They're very laughable. Man, it's not unlikely. I'll put them in front of the Locust. It's a bigger Locust. And at this point, like, if you're already, by the time you're set up in the 3-base Super Turtle, you have like something. But again, like you can get pushed back into it. The Scarab is just, I don't know. I'll put them in difficult. So that's my tier list for now. If you guys want more specific parameters, so it's a better, tier list altogether, please comment down below. I would like your input. But yeah, this is just my take. Again, so in the following days, hopefully I can get some people, friends of mine first, and we'll see what changes, what doesn't change. Yeah. Oh, so yeah, that is the Turtle Breaker tier list. It might be a lot faster than the last one, but I hope it makes sense. I hope you guys understand my philosophy and where I'm coming from. So yeah, Anti-Wave out.